Welcome everyone, this is Karen. Let's start with our yoga practice and then we'll transition to a meditation seated. So have some cushions nearby, something to prop yourself up on. If a chair works better for you, have a chair nearby, whatever you need to sit up nice and tall. And we'll start seated in a comfortable, easy pose on your mat with your hands down, and let the eyes close for a moment to start. Let's take 3 deep breaths together with eyes closed, breathing in through the nose, really filling up the diaphragm, taking a full breath in, expanding, and then exhaling all the air out. Feel free to open the mouth, let the air fall out with a sigh. Breathing in, big inhale. Out with a sigh. And start to feel yourself settling down into the floor. One more deep breath in. Out of the mouth. Good, and take a moment to connect with your sits bones. Press down on the mat underneath you. Feel your grounded seat. Check in, feel your nice tall spine from your tailbone all the way up through the crown of your head. Good, and let's invite some movement into the body, starting with the neck. Just let the right ear drop over to the right shoulder. And draw the chin down towards your chest. And then left ear over to left shoulder. And then making some half moon motion, swinging the neck side to side. And start to feel that your breath can become synchronized with your movement. So starting to absorb yourself down and within the space of your body, using your breath as a tool to make that deep contact with yourself. And feeling the neck starting to loosen up here. And then bringing the neck back to a neutral position and inviting some movement into the shoulders. Starting by bringing the shoulders all the way up towards the ears, letting them fall with a sigh. Releasing any stress held there. Inhale. Let it go. And last one. Inhale. Release it. Good. And then bringing the hands down to either side of your body. And inhale, bring the arms all the way up overhead. Getting tall. And taking care to keep your sits bones really grounded. Pull your lower belly in so your lower body feels stabilized, grounding. Same time, start to lift your hands energetically towards the sky, maybe gazing upwards if it's okay for the neck. Big inhale, get taller, expand the rib cage. And exhale, press down and away with your hands nice and slow. Feel the arms energize and activate all the way through to the fingertips. And then plant the right hand and inhale, stretch your left arm up. Staying up on your fingertips, or if it feels okay, coming down onto your right elbow. And just getting this nice side stretch through the left side of the body. Breathing and lengthening and expanding in between the ribs. Another deep breath in. And exhale and release. And other side, inhale, stretch. Right arm up towards the sky. And start to breathe deeply into the right side of the body. Feeling that expansion of breath in between the ribs. Feeling the length of the body. Inhale. Get length. And exhale. And bring the right arm down. And bringing the hands to the knees. Starting to circle around and through the hips a few times. Staying loose in the shoulders, loose through the elbows. Bending the elbows as you come forward. And feeling the low back starting to warm up here as you circle around. And then switch directions. Warming up through the hips. Good, and come back to a neutral position. Sit up tall for a moment. Let's take a couple roll through the shoulders. Bring the shoulders up towards the ears, back around and down. Inhaling up. Exhaling down and around. And just get your torso here involved in the movement. Loosening up with these big circles. And then switching directions, bringing the shoulders back, around and up. And see if you can create again that synchronization of your movement with your breath, moving as slow or as fast as feels right. And starting to make the breath more long and smooth and even. And then releasing back to a neutral position. And then navigating to hands and knees, bringing the wrists under the shoulders. And the knees underneath your hips. Let's move through a few rounds here of cat-cow. Inhaling to open and expand through the chest, and exhaling to really round and press away. Now starting in a neutral spine, feel the length from your tailbone all the way through to your crown. Take your inhale breath and open up, expand, draw your heart forward. Gaze up and exhale, pull your belly in. Press away with the hands, pull the navel towards the spine. And inhale. Expand and exhale, pull the belly in, round the spine. And take a few more rounds here at your own pace. Again, synchronize your movement with your breath. Take one more. And then come back to neutral. And then opening the knees just a touch wider. And taking some big hip circles, starting to the right, dropping the hips all the way over to the right, and back, and then over to the left, and then forward. And finding that nice rhythm. Making these circles as big as feels good. Starting to work into the hips here, opening up. Nice big circles, synchronizing the breath, starting to loosen up. And then changing directions. Take one more, and then come back to a neutral position. Bring the knees to their back. Hip width position. Moving the hips now side to side. Draw the hips over to the right. Gaze over the right shoulder. Inhale back to center. Exhale, hips to the left. Look left. And feel free to bend the elbows. Move the shoulders here a little bit. So nice and fluid with the motion. Normal if you feel a little bit of popping or cracking. little more side to side. And then come back to neutral and let your hips just drop all the way down to your heels, coming into child's pose. And let the knees fall open, as comfortable as you can through your lower back. And bring the index fingers to touch if you like, creating nice bend in the elbows to soften down towards the ground. And taking some deep breaths here as you breathe into your lower back. And starting to feel the whole back body just soften and sink and settle down into the mat. And as you continue to cultivate these long, slow, deep breaths. And with each exhale, letting your mind settle, letting your mind just absorb itself in your breathing, absorbing itself in the space of your body, giving your mind a rest from its busy activity, and allowing yourself to just be gently held here by the ground underneath you. Coming up onto hands and knees, preparing to thread the needle here, getting a twist through the upper back and the shoulders. Inhale, stretch your right arm up towards the sky. And then thread the right arm underneath the left. Bring your right shoulder, your right ear down towards the mat. Keeping the two hips square, you can play around with the placement of the left hand. Maybe way out to the side of the mat. So you can use that gentle pressure of your hand to create that twisting through your spine. Keeping the two hips relatively square here as you emphasize that twist through the upper back and through the shoulders. Taking deep breaths in and out. And then press yourself back up. Hands back to neutral, then inhale, stretch your left arm up towards the sky. And thread the left arm underneath the right. And play around with the placement of the hand. And then press the right hand into the ground, squaring through the hips. Keep the lower belly pulled in, stabilizing the lower back. And breathing in and out through the nose. And then press your way back up. Come up into neutral position. Wrists underneath your shoulders. And preparing for downward facing dog, you can open up the feet a little bit wider if you like, or keep the feet hip width distance apart. Pressing the hips up towards the sky. And you can walk the heels one at a time down towards the ground. Just feeling that stretch through the back of the body now. Feel free to keep a nice deep bend in the knees if you'd like. As long as the spine here is allowing to lengthen. Lifting the tailbone up towards the sky and pressing into the hands, the knuckles. Want to keep that weight out of the wrist. And then let the head and the neck relax, gazing up towards the navel. And continuing to breathe, take another couple deep breaths here. And then looking forward, rock your way forward, and then just come cross-legged, so cross the legs underneath you, so you're coming to your seat. Bring your hands behind you, stretch your legs forward, stretch your fingers forward, pull the belly in, and just roll slowly all the way down to the ground. And then draw the knees in, let the knees for a moment just rest against each other, and feel your lower back starting to flatten on the mat. Arms down by your side, just giving the body a moment here in this constructive rest, letting your spine just align on the mat underneath you. Slightly tuck in the chin. Take a deep breath. Preparing for our bridge pose. And point the knees up towards the sky. Walk your heels so that they're just grazing your fingers with your arms stretched down towards your heels. Press your feet into the ground, firm up through the inner thighs. Take a deep breath and inhale, and lift your hips upwards. Press your arms into the floor underneath. If you like to shimmy the shoulders underneath you, and clasp your hands. Really lift your hips upwards, creating this nice backward bend here for your spine. Keep the legs nice and strong, the inner thighs here engaged. Feeling that big opening through the front of the body. And deep breath in, lift the hips upwards. And then slowly lower hips all the way back down. And bring the shoulders out from underneath you. And gently bring the knees into your chest. And just rock back and forth a couple times. Hugging the knees in. And then placing the hands on the knees. Just doing some circles with the knees, bringing the knees open, around and back down, just circling. And creating a little massage for your sacrum, and opening through the hips. Coming back to knees into chest, preparing for happy baby pose, opening up the legs so that you can grab either the back of the thighs, the back of your legs, or if you can reach for the edges of the feet, grabbing for the edges of the feet and gently pressing down. But even just grabbing for the back of the thighs, letting the elbows rest, tuck in the chin, feel that nice stretch and opening through the hips. And then wherever you are, just breathing in and out through the nose. And feel free to play here by just rocking here side to side. That feels good. Or stay in stillness and breathe in and out through the nose, finding that slow, easy breath. And then releasing the pose, bring the knees together, bringing the feet down onto the mat. And then bringing the feet together and letting the knees just fall open. And if it's intense, then bring your feet a little bit further away towards the front of the mat. If it feels okay, bringing the feet in a little bit closer to find that just right spot. And take a moment here, either bringing the hands out to the sides, letting your body rest here for a couple of moments. Or if it feels good, placing one hand on your lower belly, one hand on your heart. And drawing in the breath as you inhale. Breathing in, feeling your lower belly rise and expand. Feel that breath expand all the way up through the ribcage and the chest. Then as you exhale, start to draw the breath out by gently pulling the belly in, feeling the belly fall and contract with your exhale. And inhale, filling up again. Exhaling completely. And you might try counting to a count of 4 or 5 on your inhale. See if you can match that count on your exhale. And take a couple more deep, long, slow breaths. And then releasing the hands, releasing the legs, letting the feet extend out and fall open for a moment. And then reaching and stretching your arms up overhead. Flex and point your toes. Stretch your fingertips. And take a nice big long stretch like you're waking up in the morning, feeling all that length through the body, energizing, activating from fingertips all the way to your toes. And then bringing the knees gently into your chest and rolling over to the right and letting your right ear just rest for a moment on your right arm. And then pushing your way back up. And taking our seated position here. You have some options, grabbing for your cushion and either sitting cross-legged, allowing yourself to sit propped up on your pillow or your mat. If you have a chair nearby, grab your chair. Another option is if you have a big pillow or bolster to sit straddling the bolster is another way to take that pressure off of the knees. So I'll demonstrate that position for you today. If you find that your knees or your feet tend to fall asleep during meditation, this can be a good way of sitting a little bit higher and taking that pressure off of the knees and the feet. So either way, sit up nice and tall and just bring your hands down on your knees for grounding. And as you get comfortable and settled in your seated position, start to let the eyes gently close. And bring your full awareness back to the rhythm of your breath. Using your breath as a tool of making this deep inward contact with yourself. Just feeling your way into the ebb and the flow, and the natural rise and fall of your own breath in and out through the passage of your nose. And allowing yourself with each exhale to settle a little bit more deeply into the rhythm of And staying open and curious about the breath. Just noticing its texture and where it lands inside the space of your body. And see if you can witness without judging where the breath might feel more constricted in the body. Noticing the areas where the breath feels more fluid. See if you can feel yourself softening into an awareness of breath. And now expanding your awareness a bit to include your whole physical body. Noticing the contours and the edges of your body from the top of your head all the way down through the head, neck, shoulders, the torso and the hips, and all the way down into the legs, the knees, and down into the space of the feet. And see if you can start to feel yourself softening and inhabiting the whole space of your body. So even more than just being aware of all of the different parts of the body, feeling as though you're actually inhabiting those spaces, living into those spaces of the body. And continuing to breathe those long and slow, even breaths. And see if you can notice without any judgment, just with openness and curiosity, the parts of the body that feel easy to inhabit. And the parts of the body that maybe feel a little bit more difficult to inhabit, more constricted. And see if you can use the breath to create a softening to all of those internal spaces. Softening through the crown of the head and down through the back of the head. Softening through the face, the eyes, the nose, and the jaw. And softening through the space of the neck and the shoulders. Softening the shoulders all the way down through the upper arms, the elbows, the lower arms, Softening down through the wrists and the hands. Feeling those point of contact between the hands and your thighs. And softening into your upper torso and chest, all the way from front to back, so you feel the front and the back of the heart softening. And softening into the space of the rib cage. And down into the lower torso and the belly. And then softening all the way down into the hips and the pelvis. Feeling the connection between the pelvic floor and the cushion or the mat underneath you. And continuing to soften down through the upper legs and down into the knees, lower legs, and softening all the way down into the space of the feet and all the toes. Feeling those points of contact between the feet and the floor underneath you. Taking a moment to register the whole body now, softened a bit, settled. Imagine everything settling down towards the space of the feet. And continuing to breathe slowly, evenly, in and out through your nose. Expand your awareness again to include your mental body. And you might notice that as the mental body has settled down a bit into the space of the body, it feels perhaps more quiet, more settled. Taking a moment to receive the mental body and any ebb and flow of thoughts, perceptions, any images or fragments of thoughts. Just allowing the mental body that natural ebb and flow. And staying in a witnessing presence, just noticing with openness and curiosity any flux or flow of mental energy now. And then expanding your awareness again to include your emotional body. Noticing with curiosity, without judgment, any emotions that might be right there present. Or just right underneath the surface. And continuing to breathe into the space of the emotional body now. Feeling that gentle ebb and flow. And coming back gently to an awareness of your whole body. Expand your awareness one more time to include your wisdom body. That very centered and integrated space within you that knows the truth of yourself and the truth of your life without having to think about it. Allow yourself to settle and soften into your own inner knowing. And see if you can remain open and curious without judgment. Whatever arises here inside the space of your wisdom body. And starting to deepen the breath again now. Starting to come back to an awareness of the physical body. Wiggling your fingers or your toes. Taking a big inhale breath, releasing the hands, and inhale, drawing the arms again all the way up very slowly, up towards the sky, lengthening, stretching the spine in either direction. Pulling the lower belly in, finding as much length and extension through your fingertips as you can. Taking another big breath in. And then exhaling and pressing the arms down and away slowly. Feeling all of that space in either direction. And continuing with eyes closed to draw the hands slowly up and together into your heart center. Slightly dip the chin into your chest. And bow your head to your heart for a moment. And take a couple of deep breaths into the heart space, integrating anything from this meditation, from this practice that you want to tuck away into the space of the heart. And then sending yourself some appreciation and gratitude for taking this time today to practice. And I thank you for taking the time. And the light in me honors and acknowledges the light inside of you. Have a beautiful rest of your day. Namaste.